Hi everyone, Pam Gregory. I'm going to be speaking to you today about the first half of November and the full moon, supermoon that we have coming up in Taurus on the 14th. But just before we get to that, I'd like to remind us of the background going through the second half of October. We have a lot of very strong, what I call outward yang energy. We have a combination of Mars, Pluto, Uranus and Eris running, and in fact those energies continue all the way through into early November as well. For astrologers, the Mars-Pluto conjunction shifts to the Mars-Pluto midpoint, but it still has the same effect. So this is linked to sudden, could be shocking events or fast-paced change, things coming out of the blue. And it's also about awakening. That's the very positive side of it. It's about personal breakthroughs and personal awakening. But in the outer world, Uranus is very linked to a greater demand for freedom, independence and equality. It always has been historically, and that the people can rise up against governments, against controlling and autocratic corporations, controlling and autocratic powerful individuals. There is an urge for greater freedom, greater equality. So that's going to be very strongly felt, I think. It's almost this kind of revolutionary feeling that's happening in the world. It's very positive in terms of scientific breakthroughs over the next few months, all the way up to next April. We may even get more evidence of life beyond this galaxy, which would be really exciting. But as I say, it's very, very helpful for our own personal development in terms of awakening, because we're living in extraordinary times at the moment. Now, what will be beautiful and I think refresh us a little is a new moon in Scorpio on the 30th of this month. This happens, this is in October, this happens at 10:38 a.m. Pacific and 6:38 p.m. UK time. And this is at 7 degrees 43 minutes of Scorpio, and see where that falls in your chart, because wherever we have a new beginning, see where it falls in a particular area of life in your birth chart. And it could just be a phone call, could be a thought, could be an idea, could be a meeting with someone that seeds something that will start to unfold from that new beginning. So it's really lovely if you can watch that happening in your chart. And if you don't know where it falls, you can download a free birth chart from my website. You can check out the link appearing above and get my video tutorials, and they will last you for all time with referring back to these updates and aspects that I'm talking about. But this is a deeply spiritual new moon. It's in Scorpio, one of the most mystical and profound signs, because it's ruled by Pluto. So it's very linked to transformation. It's letting go of the old that no longer serves us to allow us the space to bring in the new at this new beginning. It's also very beautiful because we have Neptune in positive aspect to the Sun and the Moon. And Neptune is a planet of unconditional love. It's a planet of miracles and healing. So there's a really beautiful quality around this new moon of deep, deep spiritual understanding and mysticism. The Sabian symbols were channeled many, many years ago by a medium, and there is one for each degree. And the one for 8 degrees of Scorpio is a deep, calm lake bathed in silvery moonlight, a place of quiet and peace, which is really lovely. So it really reminds us that in the hubbub and the turbulence of what may be going on in the world, we need to have that daily spiritual practice, whether it's just watching your breath, whether it's candle gazing, whether it's your particular form of meditation, whether it's being in nature. We need to have a daily anchor, really, where we can be very familiar with that quiet, still place, that we can come back to it. And there's almost a release of energy as we just sink back into that, because that will become very familiar and start to guide us in our lives, because we can only change our outer reality once we've changed our inner reality. So I think that's That's just a great thing for all of us to be doing at this extraordinary time of awakening. But certainly the energies continue to be strong into the early part of November. On the 5th of November, we have the moon coming together with Pluto. That is about the will of the people. That's the symbolism, and it's very, very intense. And of course, I'm aware that we're building towards the US election at that time. Interestingly, on the 5th and 6th, transiting Mars comes together with Pluto in America's chart. For astrologers, I'm using the 1776 Sibley chart here. Comes together with Pluto in the second house of values and of the economy to some extent. So it'd be very interesting to see action and focus happening in that area in the early part of November. What's very interesting is on the night of the election, Mars moves into Aquarius. Now this is the sign of the people, the sign of the collective. It's quite a radical sign. So Mars is going to energize the people. So it's really going to be fascinating to watch this unfold because, as I say, that's exact on election night. But we have continuing also at that time, as we have for the last year, a square between Saturn and Neptune, Saturn Sagittarius, Neptune in Pisces. And I've spoken a great deal about this. This is about what's real, what's not, what's true, what's not, what can we trust, what not, what can we believe, what not. So the whole issue around clarity, honesty, authenticity, that's going to be very, very much around at that time, together with these very strong revolutionary Mars, Pluto, Uranus, Eris energies too. So certainly a very colourful time around the election. And Neptune actually gets stronger in the second half of November, which I'll be talking about in the next video. We have a really positive aspect running all through November, in fact, which is a square between Jupiter at about 12:13 of Libra and Pluto at 15 of Capricorn. So see where these fall in your chart, because Jupiter at 12:13 of Libra, that's likely to be an area of expansion for you, potential expansion over the next year. Where Pluto falls at 15 of Capricorn, that's an area of slow building empowerment for you. But this combination together can be about success, abundance, opportunities coming in for you, leadership. Look, particularly at the Pluto end, and actually both sides will be very, I think, enlightening for you in terms of how this is unfolding. It becomes exact in the second half of the month, but it's very, very positive for you. In the world, Pluto has associations of debt, default, and taxes. So because it issues, anything that Jupiter touches is expanded, so we may actually see more of those issues coming out in the world. Then on the 14th of November we have the full moon, another supermoon, very strong supermoon at 22:37 of Taurus. Now this is a really strong supermoon. It's very close to the Earth. It's the third supermoon in a row of 4 supermoons. So really powerful. The closer they are to the Earth, the greater the effect they have, not only on the tides and tectonic plates, but also on our psyches. So this is going to be happening at 5:52 a.m. Pacific on the 14th and 1:52 p.m. UK time. So a full moon shines a light, can often reveal things, reveal secrets, but shines a light on wherever it's falling in your chart. So see where it's falling for you. A full moon is also a cycle of completion or culmination or bringing to fruition, or can be the results of our efforts as well that we've put in. But it's very much a time when things are illuminated, and then we need also to release whatever it is that the focus is on in order to move forwards again. So there's often a slight change of direction after a full moon. But it's very interesting that this is in Taurus, because Taurus is what we value. Now, on one level, Taurus is the banking system. It's the financial system. So it could manifest in that way, some change in that sense. But Taurus is also ruled by Venus. So it's also about love, it's about beauty, it's about being in nature, it's about simple pleasures, and it's about being aware of the rhythms of the earth, being very much in touch with the earth too. So this can be incredibly grounding for us, very stabilizing. And so really encourage you to be out in nature at this time. It's a very creative full moon as well. It's to do with fertility and fertile imagination as well. So I think one of the questions that is going to be coming up at this full moon, supermoon, is what do we value? Do we value materialism, or do we value nature? Do we value the abundance of the earth? I think that's going to be part of this increasing polarity that we're going to be running into over the next few years. So very, very interesting time. Then we should also bring into the picture a planet I haven't mentioned before, but it's a dwarf planet called Haumea, Haumea. It was discovered in 2003. It has a very long, slow orbit of 283 years. And in myth, it's linked to the Hawaiian goddess of fertility and childbirth. But it also has connections to the birth not only of babies, but of a new consciousness. It's very linked to the non-physical, the metaphysical, as well as the physical. And at this time, it's opposing Uranus and Eris. Uranus, the planet of awakening. It's going to stay in that opposition right up until early 2018. So it's very interesting. Together with the fact that Jupiter is in a T-square with Uranus and Pluto pretty much through till April next year. So it's activating that Uranus-Pluto T-square about awakening and about transformation. So there's a feeling of acceleration in this new consciousness movement, a feeling of really taking off to challenge some of the control, challenge some of the autocracy that some of you may be seeing and feeling in your lives. So it's a tremendously exciting time in that sense too. I think the polarity is going to continue to build, in fact, towards 2020 of status quo versus those people who feel that they are perceiving the world and their lives differently. Also, the Uranus side of that may suggest that we are going to increasingly see technology that will enhance our consciousness, that will help to shift our levels of consciousness. So this is an incredibly rich period, this first half of November, some very strong energies in the outward world, but also many opportunities for us to shift our level and shift our state of being. So I hope you have a wonderful full moon, supermoon in Taurus on the 14th. If you'd like more information about my book, audiobook, tutorial videos, monthly newsletter of anywhere between 4,000 and 6,000 words, just check out my website, pamgregory.com or thenextstep.uk.com. And thanks so much for listening.